Key 77 why Campbelltown isn't too bad these days. I totally agree. The bigger city gets, the more regular middle class people start moving into bad suburbs. Look at Redfern. Totally agree with that. For me personally, I started investing and buying property because I'm in the industry for the last, 20 years. The last 15 years, my first property was Cabramatta. I bought my first Cabra property, which is a ground floor unit, 3-bedroom, for $310,000. Well, hey, that was 15 years ago. And back then, when you think about Cabra, everyone thinks about the triad gangs, the 5 T's, those gangsters walking down the streets. But look at Cabramatta now. 15 years after, everything has cleaned up. It's vibing, it's crazy on the weekends. Now they have 3 car parks. Man, it's the only place in Asia you don't need a visa to get to. Now my property is worth at least minimum $600,000. And because I am in the industry and I do know about lending, I have cashed out that money and bought multiple other properties. But that's beside the point. Same thing for Campbelltown. People call it a hole, but I have friends who live there and they bought 4 or 5 years ago. Right now, with the airport nearing completion in 2026, you can see their property have risen by 30 to 40%. To put that in numbers, that's $100,000 to $150,000 in equity. Now let me ask you, can you save $100,000 to $150,000 in 3 to 4 years' time with this type of living expenses in Sydney? Kudos to you if you can, but a lot of people who can't, by buying property that is affordable to you right now at the right location, for example, like Campbelltown and other places surrounding Campbelltown, that is the first step in getting into the property market, and that is the first step in generating capital. Take a look at Oran Park, Leppington, Preston's. These areas have grown massively in the last 4 or 5 years. Have you been to Edmondson Park and seen the display properties there? Man, those places are hot. So I totally agree with you, Key 77Y. I hope there are more middle class people moving to these so-called bad suburbs, because if they're not, there are plenty of smart people who are, and you're probably one of those smart people.